Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And a question I get asked quite a lot is, hey, Sealord, if you could only buy one premium ship in this game, what would that premium ship be? And that is, of course, a very valid question. As we discussed last week, premium ships are pretty pricey, especially some of the more high tier ones, which tends to be where you get the most mileage for them, if you will, because of course higher tier ships have a better premium economy than lower tier ships, especially when we're talking, tier 9. And when you are coughing over, in the case of like a tier 9 premium ship, $70 for a bunch of pixels, which, keep in mind, that is the price of a full AAA game nowadays, you of course want to pick something that is going to give you the best bang for your buck. So, naturally, one of the first things I do is encourage the players that ask those questions to acquire a tier 9 coal ship, as you get the same economic bonus in a tier 9 coal ship as you do with a ship you cough up over $80 for, in some cases after tax. But if you want to know the truth about what is, in my opinion, the only premium ship you should really buy in the game, well, that will be a ship that will be appearing in the premium shop here pretty darn soon. Considering we are in the last full week of October, we will quickly be finding ourselves in the month of November. And in November, we are going to be receiving one of the most highly anticipated events in the game's yearly schedule, and that is the Black Friday event. So, the Black Friday event, if this is your first time around the calendar, if you will, in terms of Warships, the Black Friday event is a yearly event that occurs in the game. You see, Wargaming takes a bunch of ships in the game, make very fancy black versions of them. They have a fancy camo, there's a letter B behind their name, and then they sell them at a discounted rate every year around Black Friday. Sometimes, I think the event goes live in some cases like a week before Black Friday. I think that's happened once or twice, but again, around Black Friday, that happens. And what happens every single year, the previous year's ships return, meaning that from the very beginning of the Black Friday event, all of those ships are available to purchase outright in the armory for usually doubloons. I think you can buy them outright for cash on the premium shop website as well. But anyway, what's really cool about the Black Friday event is that previously removed ships return in this event, and again, at a discounted rate. And these ships are exactly the same as their normal premium versions. There's just a little B behind the name. They have a fancy black camo. You don't like the black camo, you can take it off, and it's the exact same ship cosmetically underneath that black camo. So, with that being said, the ship that I would highly recommend you pick up if you could really only buy one premium ship in the game is returning with this Black Friday event, unless, again, they decide to randomly and radically depart from the established Black Friday event, will be the Tier 9 premium French battleship, the Jean Bart. The ship you've been watching in the background now for the last 2.5 minutes. But yeah, the Jean Bart. This is a ship that I still think is a relatively new ship in game. And then when, I looked up the release date of the Jean Bart, I felt quite old. She was released back in November of 2018. That's around updates, 7, 710, 711? Somewhere in there. That's a long time ago. Now, what makes the Jean Bart so good, Sealord? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, the Jean Bart is a turbocharged Richelieu. Richelieu is the Tier 8 Techline French battleship. These are two real still ships. They were sisters, the Richelieu and the Jean Bart. And the Jean Bart is the 1950s version of the Richelieu class battleship. She's been updated and refitted. She has more modern secondary and AA mounts on her than her sister. And she's been tuned up in a couple of places that really help. So the Richelieu is a pretty solid Tier 8 Techline battleship in my opinion. The guns can and are exceptionally trolly at times, partially because of the French AP and the velocity that the guns spew the shells out at. You get some pretty hard-hitting 15-inch guns with the Richelieu here. So naturally, since it's at tier 8, they had to give it a little bit of a shotgunny effect, but you get a pretty decent reload on the guns, and with the way the French armor is, you're going to be eating tons of pins anyway, so your Adrenaline Rush kind of kicks in and helps make up for that. What they did with the Jean Bart is give you the same guns, granted at a tier higher, tier 9, but they gave her a bit better Sigma, a bit better dispersion, and a much better reload time, which is really friggin' nice. You have a base 26-second reload time on 8 15-inch guns, again with 2.0 Sigma. So that is, I'm sorry, 1.9 Sigma. The Richelieu is 1.8, and the Jean Bart is 1.9. So 1.9 Sigma, bit better dispersion, bit better reload. Some nice improvements all the way around. So it makes the main battery guns of the Richelieu more accurate, quicker reloading, and overall a lot more comfortable. And then they went and they slapped a reload booster on her as well. So now you can get a 50% discount to your reload time for 3 salvos, if you time it right. So you can get 3 quick follow-up salvos on whatever it is that may have shown you broadside, and you can use the AP, just smack the crap out of the broadside with that AP. Or if they use like their damage con, you wait for it to come off a cooldown, you throw 3 quick salvos of HE on the ship, you got like 2 or 3 permafires on the enemy ship, and now they're just burning down while you laugh. And because of that, that makes the Jean Bart a very excellent damage dealer at tier 9. And being an excellent damage dealer at tier 9 and being a premium ship at tier 9 is a huge boon to your credit income, because you have the tier 9 premium economy, which is the best economy in game. So if you are even halfway decent in the Jean Bart, which it doesn't really take a whole lot to be halfway decent in the Jean Bart, you just got to know when to use HE and when to use AP, you will be absolutely racking in the credits. The match you're watching in the background, a pretty mediocre game by Jean Bart standards, which is funny saying that because it's the best match I had of the night, because, well, random battles be like that, but I still made 750,000 credits with a pretty mediocre game here. So if you have a solid game or a good game, you can easily bring in over 1 million credits with the Jean Bart. And I'm only using the green economic bonuses here. I'm not even using the blue ones. Yeah, if I use the blue ones, this would have been for sure a 1 million credit game. No problems there at all. So that is, well, what a premium ship should be, in my opinion. Something that can make you credits, that's not, overly hard to do so. Now, of course, the Jean Bart does have her downsides. First off, her turret configuration is obviously kind of weird. You have 2 turrets in the front, none in the back. That doesn't mean she's a bow-in tanker. Don't do that. Her armor is definitely not made for that. You have 32 millimeters everywhere. Everyone's going to be pinning you with their HE shells. You don't want to get stuck bowing in the Jean Bart. You want to stay on the move. Use the ship's speed and maneuverability to your advantage. You have an engine boost that, with the speed flag equipped, can get you going at 34 knots, which is pretty darn quick for a tier 9 battleship. She's slower than the Richelieu, but I mean, hey, you got to pay for the additional AA and secondary guns somewhere as well. And since she is, well, a Richelieu, she does have tier 8 HP at tier 9, which obviously that's a bit of a downside. She has the second lowest HP pool of any tier 9 battleship, so that's not great. Also, well, since the Jean Bart has been released, super ships are a thing now, which can definitely cramp your style in a Jean Bart, because you already have, like I just said, low HP and not the best armor by tier 9 battleship standards. And now you gotta go face like a Satsuma or a Hanover or a Patrie or a Maine, right? That's not really great. However, yet again, the guns are still very nice, and they will still very much ruin a super ship's day if they show her broadside. Not to mention, with the quick reload and the better dispersion and Sigma than the Richelieu, spamming HE in the Jean Bart is completely viable. So when you are facing those super ships that can sit from, 18, 19, 20 kilometers away, throw 20-inch or 16-inch or 19-inch AP at you, yeah, just load HE and barbecue them down. Play it like a cruiser. Really, really, you should be playing it like a very large cruiser, right? And you can burn down those super ships with no problem. And since you're doing damage to a ship that's 2 tier higher than you, you get an additional boost to your credit and XP income on top of the Tier 9 premium economy, so you'll really be printing credits at that moment, right? But obviously, again, playing against super ships in a Tier 9 is not fun in the first place, and of course, in a Tier 9 like Jean Bart, again, with the lesser armor and lesser HP than your Tier 9 counterparts, obviously that is a little bit rough, but once you learn how to play the ship, I'm pretty sure you can make it work. I've been able to make it work. It's, again, a ship that's very excellent for doing good, consistent damage with throughout the, even though I wasn't having the best teams, I was still having no problems getting, 120, 130, 140,000 damage in the Jean Bart because of how nice the guns are. Now, obviously, the guns, as you can see in the background, they are still kind of trolly with their dispersion, but the reload more than makes up for that, in my humble opinion. She's also really good for dealing with submarines and destroyers, especially for when you catch them on, when you catch them on the surface, right? Because of the reload boost, you can get 3 quick salvos on the submarine, usually before they start diving, if you catch them before their dive starts. And obviously submarines are not going to like 3 quick salvos of 8 15-inch HE back to back to back, right? That's going to ruin their day. Really great for dealing with destroyers because of, again, that rapid reload. Like, if you've got another destroyer playing with you, I mean, yeah, you can absolutely make that destroyer, the enemy destroyer, suffer by having your destroyer spot them, and then you shoving again 8 15-inch HE shells up their stern with the reload booster every 13 seconds. Yeah, that's not going to be a fun time for that destroyer. You'll be breaking their torpedo tubes, knocking out their engine, knocking out their rudders, breaking their guns. She's really mean when played properly. So, again, guys, don't miss out on the ship when it comes up for Black Friday. Pretty much every other ship in the Black Friday event, I would say you could ignore if you just get the Jean Bart. The only other one I could see you getting instead of the Jean Bart would be the Alaska. That's another really, really good pickup there. But like Jean Bart, in my opinion, is the better pick by just a little bit there. I'm a battleship main, so a little bit of bias there. If you do pick up the Alaska instead of the Jean Bart, I think that's a really solid pick either way. Both the American tech tree with the Alaska and the French tech tree with the Jean Bart, I mean, they have tons of ships you can train commanders up for on either ship, tons of premiums on both nations, so they really do fulfill that role of a premium quite well. But I do think the Jean Bart, again, Filthy Battleship Main's opinion here, right, would be the superior pick in my opinion. And again, you do get it usually at a discounted rate in the Black Friday event. How much of a discount? Can't tell you for sure because, again, the details of the event have not been released yet. I just know that she is coming out with the event as she has always been so in the past years, right? So, guys, that is my 2 cents for the event. Why am I making this video so early? Well, you see, people have jobs, right? If they want to buy that one premium ship, obviously, you want time to save up that money, right? It's still going to be like again, depending upon the discount, probably a $60 ship, a $50 ship, which is a lot of money, but this is definitely a ship that I do think you could buy just this one ship and you're set. She's going to print credits for you at no difficulty whatsoever. She's great for ranked battles as well, obviously. And again, there are the other good premiums that I do think you should pick up are mostly coal ships like the Palmer and the Kearsarge, so forth and so on. This is the ship that I do think is worth slapping down the cashola for, my friends. But guys, again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.